welcome to season 2 of Fashion Reverie Talks. I'm Carl Ayers.
I am Tijana Ibrahimovic.
And I am William Gooch.
Fashion Reverie takes you from the front lines of fashion to the front row.
All of Fashion Reverie Talk segments are based on published content found on fashionreverie.com.
So if you want more information on these segments, go to fashionreverie.com.
And we start every episode with our fashion news segment. And our fashion news segment is based on articles on our fashion news alerts found on fashionreverie.com. This week, we are joined by our editor-in-chief, William Gooch, as our special co-host. Gooch, welcome. Welcome to this side of the camera. Thanks for joining us for, the launch of season 2.
Well, thank you, Carl. We're so excited about this new season 2. We've been on hiatus for 2 months, and we have a new production team, new music, new logo. So we're really excited about all the wonderful things that are going to happen this season. And I am only filling in because Cicely Daniels is not here today, but she will be back for our next episode. So let's get started.
Yes, let's talk about, we have so much to catch up on, but let's talk about what everyone is currently talking about in fashion right now. Tiffany, the luxury brand Tiffany, has tapped Jay-Z and Beyoncé to star in their new campaign. The new campaign is called About Love, and it features Beyoncé channeling Audrey Hepburn in the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's. So Beyoncé is in this floor-length black gown with black opera gloves and an updo hairstyle, just like Audrey. And but in Audrey's picture, she's wearing a strand of pearls. Beyoncé is wearing the 128 carat, $30 million yellow Tiffany diamond. So yeah, that is a lot. And Beyoncé is only the 4th woman to wear the Tiffany diamond. So the Tiffany diamond was found in South Africa in 1877. And since then, it's been worn by socialites, Audrey Hepburn herself, and Lady Gaga for the Academy Awards. Now, this campaign also features a Basquiat painting. Amazingly, it's in a shade of blue that is similar to the Tiffany blue. So it makes an apropos appearance in this campaign. And everyone is talking about it because that painting has hardly ever been seen in public. Now, this campaign is not without conflict. Speaking of conflict, we're going to talk about that diamond because some people think that it may be a conflict or blood diamond, and they think that it should be repatriated to South Africa. Some other people are also saying that Basquiat would not be too happy about having his painting in such a high-profile campaign. But Tiffany themselves, they bought the painting, so it's theirs to do as they please. But on a higher note, Tiffany's is donating $2 million in scholarships and internships to HBCUs around the country. Now, Tiffany reportedly made around $52 billion in revenue last year, so $2 million is a drop in the bucket. But as an HBCU alum, I will thankfully accept it. So, Tijana, Gooch, what do you think?
Well, okay, Tijana, since you're in a wonderful exotic location, I'm going to let you go first.
Well, first, I wanted to say that if you're in New York, you can actually go and see that diamond at a Tiffany store, from what I know. And that's something like, if anybody's visiting, that should, kind of be noted. But I think we should focus on the good and the benefits of this campaign, and just ignore the, conspiracy theories. So that's my take on it.
Well, Tiffany really is trying really hard to reinvent itself. And this is a part of their reinvention perspective, their reinvention campaign. So they're really trying to expand toward, new audiences. So they're really employing Jay-Z and Beyoncé to reach a younger audience, which I don't really know how they're going to reach a younger audience with Jay-Z and Beyoncé, because, they're in their late 30s, early 40s. So but anyway, they're really looking out to reach out to more people of color, a younger audience. So I say bravo to Tiffany and Company for doing this. And also remember, Tiffany and Company is one of the few fashion brands that is in the black right now during the pandemic. So many fashion brands have suffered financially, and Tiffany and Company is doing quite well. So you know what? Bravo to Tiffany and Company. Good luck in the reinvention. And you know what? Why not? Use Jay-Z and Beyonce. Why not?
Indeed.
Well, let me update you on something else related to Naomi Osaka. We do usually have some quite interesting news related to her, sometimes in sports, sometimes in fashion, this time in fashion. So the Grand Slam tennis pro has a new job with Levi's. So she's launching a limited edition women's wear denim collection. And it already launched, so it pays homage to her Japanese heritage, as well as utilizing upcycled and vintage denim, which I think is super cool. And the collection will retail from $150 to about $380. And she also included her sister in it, because she shared that when they were younger, they would have like a little fashion competition and their dad would decide who is the winner. So, it's something also for the two sisters to bond. And I assume the sister probably helped coming up with the items as well. There is 4 styles, and one includes a kimono with matching denim belt, and 2 styles of shorts. And also a long short and a long shorts. For me, the 4th item is most interesting because it's like a little denim bustier. So a little bit of a sexy look there for the end of the season. So that's news with Naomi. Would you guys wear it? Would you buy it?
Well, I'm not going to wear it.
Hey, everything's unisex these days.
I know it's unisex, but I'm not going to wear it. But I do like the kind of the infusion of her Asian culture into her denim collection. The kind of, it looked like it was almost like a denim obi belt she had attached to one of the silhouettes. It was really, really quite interesting. And I have to give Naomi Osaka credit. She is a 3-time Grand Slam champion. So I have to give her credit. This girl does not let any grass grow under her feet. Whether she's playing tennis or, dipping or delving or connecting to fashion, she keeps herself busy. And in these really uncertain times, keeping busy is a good thing.
Yes, she's definitely keeping busy. And I'm glad to see her sponsors, her brand partners still going forward with her. Because when she first started stepping away to take care of herself mentally and emotionally, there was conversation that, that may alienate some of her sponsors, but it's great to see that Levi's has gone forward with their partnership. Naomi is in New York currently preparing for the US Open. She was in Queens a few days ago opening, I think, a new tennis playground or tennis courts for kids in the neighborhood where she used to live or close to where she used to live. So Naomi is still doing her thing. She's not letting people and pressure get the best of her. She's advocating for mental health and fashion and keeping it all together. And I'm proud of the sister. Go on, Naomi.
All right. So no bustier for you?
Oh, no. No.
Well, moving on from Naomi, we're going to move on to somebody that is so iconic. Some people outside of fashion may not know him, but we're going to talk about the iconic Bill Cunningham. And those who don't know who Bill Cunningham is, Bill Cunningham was a world-renowned, iconic street photographer, fashion photographer, who really, chronicled, am I saying that right? Fashion for 5 decades. I think he died in, what was it, 2018, Carl, or was it 2017? I don't remember the quite year.
I'm still bereft.
I know he was hit on his bicycle and he never really recovered. But there is a new exhibition of his work that will open on the last day of Fashion Week. And the exhibition is called Experience the Times of Bill Cunningham. It's going to be at the Seaport, like I said, opening on the last day of Fashion Week. And it's going to have elements of his photography, his street photography, It's fashion photography. It's going to be interactive. It's going to be in a 2-story building with 6 installations, very interactive. People can have a lot of fun and really get to know who Bill Cunningham is. And for those who don't really know him, please look up Bill Cunningham. Fashion would not be what it is in the United States without Bill Cunningham. And I don't know if you or Tiana, Carl, have seen that documentary on Antonio Lopez called Sex, Love, Rock and Roll something. I forget the name of it. I'm sorry, I should have done my research. I have the name exactly correct. And it's going to be on Showtime. I saw it when it first opened in New York. And Bill Cunningham is in that documentary. And he gives some really incredible information about the historic figure, Antonio Lopez, who was a famous fashion illustrator who unfortunately died from AIDS in the early 90s. But Bill Cunningham was in it at that time in the late 60s when fashion was really beginning to explode. The ready-to-wear market was beginning to explode. Bill Cunningham was a part of all of that. And it was so wonderful seeing him at Fashion Week, shooting backstage, at fashion events. So he is so missed. And this new exhibit, because there have been other exhibits of him, is going to be worthwhile. And I'm going to be there. I will be there. I hope my other Fashion Reverie co-hosts will be there as well.
I'm excited to see it for sure, because even from that documentary, I mean, you can tell that his collections are just irreplaceable. The moments he caught from New York fashion scene. I mean, while he was alive, for every fashionista or a socialite, it was like a goal to get photographed by Bill. So it's probably going to be amazing.
Yes. So I have a few stories about Bill. I've spent time with Bill. I've met Bill a few times. I was actually photographed by Bill and featured and placed in the New York Times in one of his Sunday collages. So I'm thankful for that. But Bill Cunningham is an amazing talent. He's the grandfather or godfather of street style photography. He's the one that made it what it is. He's the one that set the groundwork for all these other photographers. He has been awarded in America and abroad. He was made, I think, a Knight of the French Republic because of his work. There are other film documentaries about Bill Cunningham's life, including, I think, the most recent one, I believe, was by Ruben Toledo. I believe that's Isabel Toledo's husband.
You're right, Ruben Toledo, right? Yeah. You're right.
So I've seen at least 2 documentaries on him. His work was always featured in the I think the Sunday Times. It's great. The archives are still there, so anyone who is not familiar with Bill Cunningham and his work, even if you are familiar, go and look at his archives, get some inspiration, and learn how to develop your own sense of street style.
Well, that's all for our Fashion News Alert segments. For more on these segments, go to fashionreverie.com to get more information. Because usually in our Fashion News Alert, we have a little bit more information on the actual site than we give in the talk show. So we're going to move on now to our next segment, which is the pre-fall 2021 trends. And, Carl, you did a great job with this article. Now, interestingly, I found these trends really different and not your typical, they're kind of atypical of what we think of as pre-fall or fall 2021 trends. Now I have my opinion of why the fashion industry went in this direction, but I want to hear it, since you wrote the article, I want to hear it from you. Why do you think we have these kind of atypical color palettes, these atypical silhouettes for pre-fall and fall 2021? What's your opinion, Carl?
Well, for me, with everything, there's no one set answer. So for pre-fall 2021, I think there are a number of factors. Number one, we've been in a pandemic for 2 years. we've been in a pandemic. So people, they want to get out, they want to explore, they want to revisit their closet, they want to put on more clothes, they want to show off, they want to be seen. And so there were probably 15 different fashion trends that I stumbled upon that I looked at and analyzed for pre-fall, and we whittled it down to, I believe, 6 because there's so much out there. But when it comes to color, we don't always have to go dark, but one of the color trends is a dark trend. But we can also go bright. You can also go fun and lively. It doesn't have to be moody and broody. You can go out and have fun with fashion for this pre-fall, which will lead into the fall.
Well, let's talk about one of the trends that shocked me. The color trends that shocked me. I mean, I had no idea. I think I have my finger on the pulse, but I was kind of shocked. Okay. Pink. Yes. As a pre-fall trend. I mean, come on, Carl. Talk about this. This really shocks me. Who would think of pink for pre-fall?
Why not? Well, because, all right, so a lot of times when we think of pink, we think of, cotton candy pink, soft pink, like baby doll pink. But pink, like any color, has a wide variety of shades. So you can go with the soft pinks. You can go with the vibrant pinks, the dark pinks that are almost purple. You can go play with color, not just color, but also fabrication and cut and design. So you can still have pink throughout the season, throughout the year. I remember a few years ago, pink was another other color trend for the end of the year. And Andre Leon Talley said, no, it's not pink. We call it strawberry ice. That cracked me up.
Strawberry ice?
That's what he said. That's what he said. Okay.
But hey, Andre knows. Andre knows.
I'm sticking with pink. But pink is a great color. So in the article there are six. I selected six items from Chiari, Bonnie Robe, Lajansi, Isabel Moran, Stod, Naeem Khan. They are and Aiden Maddox. But in the article, you see a wide range of clothing. So there are shirts, there are dresses. There's this bedazzled Naeem Khan halter top, which is, look, Naeem always brings the bling. So he always is ready for a party. So you can wear this pink, in your party mode. You can wear, an oversized plaid shirt. You can have pink any way that you want, but, you will be on trend. And I think we will see this pre-fall trend bleed into the fall trend for 2021.
Now, let me ask you something, Carl. Do you think, I'm just sending this out here, do you think pink is one of the color trends for pre-fall because the fashion industry is trying to get people excited about buying clothes again, coming out of the pandemic, giving people a color that they can wear to go out on the town and party? Do you think that might have a little something to do with it?
I certainly feel that because, like I said, the pre-fall trends generally go into the fall, and people want to once again be out and have fun. And pink is a fun color. Pink is a party color, especially if you want to be girly and flirty. Ladies, you can go out there and have a rocking time in a pink dress, pink skirt, pink hot pants, whatever. And fellas, also, even though this article is geared towards women's wear, fellas, pink is for you as well. Actually, pink started off as a color for boys, and it was, I think, in the 50s or 60s that it was switched to being a female color.
Wow, didn't know that. See, always information, Carl. You are the guru of information. Now let's go on to another trend. Big florals for fall, pre-fall. Yes. Florals for fall?
Exactly. So
okay, another atypical trend. Okay, Carl.
So the thing is with florals. So in one of my favorite movies, The Devil Wears Prada, Miranda Priestley is in a board meeting in the staff meeting, and they present florals for one of the trends. And this is a spring trend in the movie. And she says, florals for spring, groundbreaking. But honestly,
I remember that scene.
But florals for fall, that is kind of groundbreaking. I mean,
it is.
It's not that bright bubblegummy pastel florals. These are more of the darker florals. So you can have a darker background with the light colored flowers, or you can just have dark flowers altogether. Like think deep purples and greens and dark blues. You get the ferns in there. You get the dark leaves. Even if you go a little brown with some of the darker fall foliage, you can work that in there. There's this in an article. There's this pair of Escada pants that are dark blue, but they have like pink flowers, pink and blue flowers. And you see, if you pay attention, you see a little, you see some jungle animals in the backgrounds there. I think those
Right.
high waist pants are incredible. But also there's this Dries Van Noten trench coat. It is like a heather steel. It's like a steel gray with again pink flowers, but they're dotted on the sleeves and on the décolletage and on the back, and it's very dainty. But it has this sheen on it that looks like it makes it look like the water just wicks away off of this trench coat. It is amazing. So dark florals are here, but also I will say that there is a green Carolyn Herrera coat that I included in the article, and no, excuse me, it's a dress that's included in the article, and it's just all green, but the embroidery it plays on that green color, so it's not the typical dark, fall decaying leaves that we would think about when it comes to flowers and foliage.
Right.
It is very lively, very vibrant, and it's very fun.
So it's not the rust color,
No, I mean you can
rusty
go in that
red
direction.
color. It's yeah.
You can go in that direction, but that's not the direction I was displaying in this article for the most
Well,
part.
Carl, I'm looking at what you have on. Now there's some florals in your shirt.
Well, yeah.
I
So
love, I, I love, I love, I love what you have on. I love the sweater.
thank you. So this shirt is by Alan Onya. He did a collaboration with INC, which is the Macy's in-house brand. Well,
Right,
earlier
right.
this year, there were a number. Macy's did a collaboration with a number of designers, including the Brooklyn Circus, Ouija Theodore, and I think Arena Acres, I believe, as well. I'm not sure. I got to double check that. But this is one of my favorite pieces from the collection, so I had to grab it. And to be vibrant for the beginning of season 2 and to go with my green foliage backdrop, I think this was appropriate.
It was very apropos, as as I
As I
should
say,
say.
apropos.
Now, our last trend that we're going to talk about is
Uh-huh.
eye-catching leggings. Now Carl, I'm not a fan of leggings,
Well,
but I like the leggings you picked because you
Okay.
are the style guru for Fashion
Okay.
Reverie. I like the leggings you picked, so
Yeah.
you're making me change my mind. So let's talk
So-
about that.
So these leggings, first of all, these are not your gym athletic hot pants. This is not Peggy Bundy. Well, maybe a younger Peggy Bundy, but these are, as you say, these are fashionable. All right. So I'm gonna just highlight two. So the first one I want to talk about is Wolford. The brand Wolford is known for making, sexy intimates like bras and panties and stuff like that. But they partnered with Amina Muaddi. Now, we've spoken about Amina Muaddi on FashionReverie.com in the past. She's collaborated with Rihanna for her Fenty line, and she's collaborated with Alexandre Vautier for his footwear collection. But Amina's own footwear collection always sells out all the time. They are in high demand. And so Wolford brought her on board to collaborate to make these latex stirrup leggings. So these are slick, sleek, and sexy. I mean, like, all right. So you remember Olivia Newton-John in Greece?
Yes.
These leggings make Olivia Newton-John look like an amateur. These are sexy. All right. These are incredible. So whoever's watching, listening, go to fashionreverie.com and see these leggings because they are out of the world. It's like black ink all on her leg and down to the stirrup. It's a piece. It's a piece.
Well, Carl, you did a great job with this style article, which you always do all the time. That's why you've been with Fashion Reverie for 9 years, because you
11 years,
always
yeah.
hit the ball out the park. And we want to tell all the consumers for more information about the pre-fall 2021 trends, go to the article on fashionreverie.com.
So this was great talking about fashion trends, but let's talk about something different. Let's talk about, being that we're in the beginning of season 2 and we're getting ready for New York Fashion Week, let's talk about what's happening with New York Fashion Week. And a special treat this year is that the Met Gala was moved from the spring to the fall. And so to talk about that, we have, our wonderful co-host, Tiana, and she is with one of our associate editors, Tessa Swantek.
So we have a very special segment with our associate editor, Tessa. Hi, Tessa.
Hi, Tina.
Hi, I really enjoyed your article about New York Fashion Week and the Met Gala, where they sort of joined forces to change the narrative of the American fashion culture. So tell me a little bit about how is this upcoming New York Fashion Week season going to be different from previous seasons?
Well, first, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the article. But this Fashion Week is different for a few reasons. First, as we know, this September, we're finally getting back to in-person shows. Many in the fashion industry are even calling this the revitalization of New York Fashion Week, which, because we've really had a year of kind of nothing, we've just been online. But also because of COVID, the Met Gala was rescheduled from May to the day after Fashion Week. So both events can kind of underpin each other, which is a really new experience.
So you mentioned a revitalization of New York Fashion Week following the pandemic. So how does IMG's Fashion Alliance relate to this?
Sure. So IMG's Fashion Alliance is an important effort by the CFDA following a year of the absence of prominent designers from Fashion Week. It's made up of 11 designers that have committed to show collections at this upcoming Fashion Week, as well as the next 3 seasons. Some designers are Telfar Clemens, Brandon Maxwell, Jason Wu, Prabal Gurung, and Laquan Smith. The collections will be financially backed by Afterpay and IMG, which means that they're set to be really big shows for seasons to come.
Yeah, and it looks like it's something to look forward to for the future seasons as well.
Right.
So some of these designers were not born in the United States. Can we talk a little bit about the importance of like bringing in those that have not been born in the US?
Sure. So this is really important because the designers were brought together in the wake of the pandemic to kind of celebrate the American fashion community. So the fact that we're celebrating American fashion with designers outside of the US is something that really kind of redefines what's meant by Americanism and American fashion in general. Prabal Gurung is probably the best example for this out of all Alliance members, since he's kind of focused on this topic in previous collections. I don't know if you've seen his Spring 2020 collection. Have you?
I have taken a look, but I always like his style. He always brings sort of a little bit of drama. So I love it with his prints and colors. We need it after the pandemic. So,
but that collection that really relates to this topic because it kind of focused on what's meant by American fashion. So he was born in Singapore, just to give you some background. And he considers himself as kind of shaping the American fashion ideal because of his journey to America, to New York in the 90s. And his spring collection was kind of based on the fact that American fashion is kind of seen through a white lens. So his impact wasn't really considered because first, he's not white, and second, he's not born in the US. So this kind of has to do with the diversity of the Alliance members and kind of reframing what American fashion means to focus on more of a narrative, like a narrative in America rather than being born in America.
Right. So, but a lot of people have criticized this American fashion theme when it comes to the Met Gala. So what are some of the varying opinions?
There was a huge amount of criticism because of the Met Gala's theme this year. And I think that this is mostly because people don't really know what American fashion means. Many kind of see it as red, white, and blue, denim, not really taking into account any history of any sort. And that tells part of a story, but it's far from telling the full story of American fashion. You're kind of ignoring the new designers that we're excited about, like Laquan Smith, for example, if you only look at it in that sense. So the Met Gala's curator this year, he said that we're kind of looking for a narrative approach and the emotional side of American fashion, which is something that we should look forward to this year. And if done correctly, both events could kind of tell a bright story that we haven't had.
Yeah, I think the goal is to bring forward American fashion and to maybe, show it off a little bit. So I love the partnering of New York Fashion Week and the Met Gala sort of partnering. So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, me too. It should be really great.
As always.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
All right. Well, thank you, Tessa. I can't wait to do the follow-up after the gala. For the full article, go to fashionreverie.com.
Tijana and Tessa, thank you for that incredible conversation about New York Fashion Week. And to continue the conversation about New York and fashion, we are joined by the legendary fashion designer, Byron Lars.
Hi. Hey, Carl. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for being here for the launch of season 2 of Fashion Reverie Talks. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, and congratulations on the start of the second season. That's an awesome accomplishment.
Well, we're in our second season, but you have been designing since 1991. All right, so we have some catching up to do. Now, you've been a fixture in the industry for 3 decades. 3 decades. You started your career with what you called twisted classics. That is an interesting concept. Please tell me, how did that come about?
Actually, it was more like twisted American classics, and I guess they weren't as much twisted as distorted somehow. And I guess that really came about more out of kind of like an exaltation of American fashion, ironically, since that's the whole theme of the Met Gala this season. And just kind of like taking those pedestrian like staples and, beefing them up and making them, important, more important than just in our daily lives, making them special. So that's kind of how it started. From my grandpa's hunting jacket, Woolrich plaid, got same Woolrich plaid, and, just amped it up, nipped the waist, made a big skirt, put petticoats in there, and it all of a sudden became something else.
Yeah, your designs were incredible. I mean, they were praised throughout the industry. I mean, Women's Wear Daily even named you the Rookie of the Year. All right, so that's how incredible that collection was. But then in the mid-90s, you took a little bit of a break. Tell us what happened there.
Well, actually, my Japanese backer at the time, who financed everything, backed out, because that was about the time that the Japanese economy kind of imploded on itself. And that was it. The money was gone, and so was I. But not really. I mean, just had to kind of like work on reinvention of sorts. And so that really was going to be me just stepping out and designing behind the scenes without any labeled product. But, fate works the way fate works. And eventually we had a labeled product again. Yeah. And here we go.
Yes, because you brought your label back in the 2000s. So when you brought it back, how would you say that your brand aesthetic has evolved from your brand aesthetic in the 90s?
Well, I think most notably would be the inclusion of prints in our fashion story, because in the 90s, we couldn't give away a print. I don't know why. Everything was about power dressing and, this like really like boss lady, which we are all still very much about. But it got very narrow, like the buyer's idea of what that meant, at least with regard to like what I was doing at the time. And so we really decidedly wanted to add that to our story, just to like have a deeper breadth of what was possible here. And anthropology was a big part of that, happening, because of course they are all about color and all about print. So they were really like our first chance to get it out there in a meaningful way, to get people to accept those from us.
Yeah, so you mentioned powerful women, because Anthropology is a very popular brand. But speaking of powerful women, you've dressed some of the most powerful and influential women of certain eras, different eras. First of all, you dressed Barbie. All right, 19 Barbies to be exact. You dressed First Lady Michelle Obama, and she wore one of your dresses to the commemoration of September 11th, the 10-year commemoration of September 11th. You've dressed, Olympians, Sonia Richards-Ross and Allison Felix. You have been doing it, all right? So tell me, what is it like to dress these incredible and influential women?
It is incredible to dress them because they're amazing. But, I really don't make, other than Mrs. O. Mrs. O, that was like a big, big, big moment for us because,
of course,
come on, we love her and we love that family. And yes. I really miss that time. But yes. That being said, I don't really make a difference between like our just average customer who is not average to us. I mean, she's special. And any other, celebrity that wears things, because it's really more about like women's advocacy through this product. It's about making really greatly made, well-made clothes that give her a great experience, So while it's great seeing these like awesome, visible, women like doing amazing things to like help, brand awareness, I just really think that it's really more about the product and every woman that wears these clothes.
Yes, that is what's really appealing about your collection to the every woman, because it's not celebrity driven. It's great women in all phases and stages of life can wear a piece by Byron Lars. So now, bringing it current, with this global pandemic, it's really shown which designers can pivot and survive, and which are just, what we call fair weather creatives. You have had a 4-year collaboration with Asian e-tailer, Xiao Chong, I believe, right?
Xiao Chong, yeah.
Xiao Chong, yeah. I'm working on the accent.
Yeah, that's all right, man. Hey, that was pretty good for a first try.
Thank you.
It really was.
So tell us about that working relationship.
Well, Xiao Chong is one of those like Chinese phenomena. She's one of those real like super powerful women that is in a very unassuming package. She's small and she's very friendly, but she has a really clear vision, and that vision is very entrenched in her customer that buys her clothes. So I really, there was like great synergy there with like our ideals about like what we're doing in fashion. So she found us through a sweater vendor there and was like, wow, this is amazing stuff. He made an introduction. She ordered a lot of product, and she did a lot of promotion, like pre-promotion before they did the launch. And they blew, and her first order was like, 1,000 of this, 1,500 of that, 800. It was like numbers that I was like, pretty large for a first launch. Yeah. And she promoted it really well. And that product, like out of 10 styles, 7 sold out in 2 minutes.
Wow, applause to that. Yeah.
2 minutes.
Congrats to that.
Oh, thanks. You know what? It was one of those things though. Honestly, I never believed it. I mean, like they were all giving me messages on WeChat that like this was happening. I'm like, I made it 10 minutes because I'm like, there's no way it was 2 minutes. But yeah. It turned out later when like, this investigative reporter was doing a story and she was getting the facts and checking everything. It was in fact 2 minutes. And I was like, wow. And not only that, there were reorders for like almost that same amount in that same day. So we had to remake almost those same amounts. So she is really amazing and honestly very, like she is the reason our factory was able to survive this because, while they were closed down, we were open. And then when they were opening back up, we were closing down. So that was going to be a long time without anything happening in that factory. So just to be able to like generate some business, while we were down was really essential.
That's amazing, and it shows the interconnectivity of the different aspects of the fashion industry. It's not just about runway shows and campaigns. It's about manufacturing. It's about transportation. Getting clothing from the factory to the retail to the customers. The industry is so huge, and it's amazing that your collection helped keep such a vibrant section within your universe of fashion. Your collection helped keep that segment alive. That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
I guess at the beginning and the end of the day, fashion is about people. I mean, people wear the clothes, people make the clothes, people sell the clothes. And I think as long as you stay focused on that and the humanity of the endeavor, then you're going to be all right. Pandemic, schmandemic. I'm not going to say there hasn't been some teeth gnashing struggle in all this, but I mean, that is really it in the big picture.
That is true. And as things in life happen, we all have to, sometimes evolve and change and flow with the times. So you rebranded in the early 2000s with a beauty mark, and now you are rebranding again. Why? What has changed? What has caused this evolution for the Byron Lars brand?
Well, I think the pandemic definitely cast like a spotlight on what was and what wasn't working in that old iteration of, our fashion existence. And what was working primarily was my then assistant, now business partner, Sheila Gray. And
Sheila.
me, I mean, like we were the engine of that whole thing, keeping it up. And when it was just kind of, apparent that it could not go on the way it was, we decided jointly that it could go on in a different kind of way and in a more meaningful way, oddly. It just, the fates aligned that we needed to exist. And here we are.
So tell us about this new step, In Earnest. Tell us about that.
Well, In Earnest, firstly, about the name, since in earnest by definition means existing to a greater extent or more intensely than before, it was like not just a name, but like basically a position we were taking in our intent for this brand. So that was something that was like very important to us. And Ernest happens to be my middle name, also name of my dearly departed father, certainly an earnest man and did everything in earnest. So that, the name fired on a lot of those levels. And we're really trying to live up to that in what we're putting in this product still, making great experiences through these clothes and all of that. But we're just really trying to be really honest in this work and really give this woman what she deserves and things that she wants that she may have never considered. And that's what we're doing.
I hear you. Now, I'm going to have one question for you, because, and it's a difficult question, because just like parents, when they say they don't have a favorite child, I'm going to ask you, what is your favorite piece from this new collection? Tell us about that one.
Gosh, from this new collection. I guess my favorite piece would be a sweatsuit. It sounds crazy. We call it a no sweatsuit because it's like a really chic, fashionable iteration of that thing that can go from the couch to the world to an evening out, and that's it.
Wonderful. All right. Okay, we'll go with that, with the sweatsuit. So, Byron, thank you for joining us today on the launch of Season 2 of Fashion Reverie Talks. For our viewers, our listeners, anyone who's following us, please go to inearnestofficial.com to see more of Byron's collection. You can find him on Instagram and Twitter at inearnestofficial. And come back to Fashion Reverie for more. Byron, thank you so so much for this today. It was amazing to have you here.
Thank you so much. And congratulations on the second season.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care. Well, viewers, that's it. Thanks for joining us for this, our first episode of season 2 of Fashion Reverie Talks. I hope you enjoyed it.
We would like to thank our editor-in-chief, William Gooch, associate editor Tessa Swantek, and our special guest, designer Byron Lars, for joining us.
For more information on these stories and other stories, go to fashionreverie.com. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.